Hello and welcome to the 2020 Senate election. Before I start the video, the end of the goal month for subscribers is to hit 50. We're currently at 44, so that means 6 more to go, and we have 10 days left of the month. We're going to start off with the safe Republican states: Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, South Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, and West Virginia. The reason for Texas is John Cornyn last time in 2014 won there by 27%, even though it was a Republican year. If we shift into a general election, that usually also leans towards the president and the Congress and voting. So I could see him winning there by maybe 9 points less and win by around 18%, because he did win there very, very large in 2014. He also won a lot of the Hispanic districts and also the urban districts, like he won Houston. We're going to now move into the safe states for the Democrats: Oregon, Illinois, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Jersey, and Delaware. The reason for Illinois is because Dick Durbin last time won there by 10%, but in a general election, there's also a Democratic runner-up, which will be pushing more Democratic voters to come out in Illinois during the general election, so that will push Dick Durbin over the line. As well as Cory Booker, if he is to run, if he becomes the Democratic nominee, he will not be running for New Jersey Senate, but that is unknown still. We'll see where he goes. I personally don't think he will make the nomination. We're going to now move into the likely Republican states: Kansas, just because it's closer and there's no Republican runner-up. He currently retired. Montana is just slightly closer as well, probably a 14% win. Mitch McConnell, if it was a midterm election, it'd be probably in the lean, but because it's in the general election, the Republican president's also running up, so it'll push Republican voters to come out for him, even though he's one of the most disapproved senators in the United States. So now there's two more. South Carolina, Lindsey Graham, very important during the Kavanaugh trial. He will just have a slightly closer, just because he did last time run in a midterm election, which was a red wave in 2014, and he did very well. He won by around 17%. I think it was around that, or 16%. And if it shifts back and Trump won by around 14%, they'll probably win about the same margin as Trump did in 2016. Another likely state would be Alaska, just slightly closer as well, probably a 13% win. Trump also didn't win Alaska in a safe margin in 2016. He won there in a likely, but it was like in between likely and solid. Let's now move into the likely Democratic states. The state of Minnesota, just slightly closer. Virginia, it was very close in 2014. The Republican almost won there. I think because of the Democratic nominee will also be running and probably campaigning there. It'll push Mark Warner even farther with votes. Also in the state of New Mexico, I could actually see this possibly in the safe margin, but I just think it'll be slightly closer. So now Democrats have 44 to Republicans 47. Let's now move into the Republican lean column. The state of Iowa. The reason for this is Joni Ernst won there a pretty good margin in 2014. Trump won there by around 10 points in 2016, and in every poll, Trump is basically winning or tied. So I think that Trump will definitely win Iowa in 2020, and I think he'll push the Republicans there and independents to vote for Joni Ernst as well. Another lean, which is the first flip of the day, is the state of Alabama. Doug Jones was elected there in a special election, and now with Trump's Republican base coming out to vote, most of them will probably start to vote against Doug Jones and whoever the Republican nominee is there, and will push Doug Jones out of his seat. So that will be the first flip. So now Republicans need one or two more seats. One more if Donald Trump holds his seat as president, and two if the Democrats take the presidency. So now the Republicans, I could also see them carrying the state of Georgia. David Perdue won there about 9 points in 2014. I think it'll just be slightly closer because of Democrats becoming more Democrat in the state of Georgia, and Trump won it by 6%, and Stacey Abrams only lost by about 3%. So I could see maybe a 4 or 5% win for David Perdue. As well as in the state of North Carolina, Thom Tillis, he won there by about 2% in 2014, and Trump won there about 4% in 2016, as well as Republicans holding by over 5% margin in 2018 in the House. So I could see Trump's base also coming out for Thom Tillis. Democrats haven't really had a shot in North Carolina since 2008, so it'll be very hard for them. It is shifting back to the Republican Party more and more. So now the Republicans have definitely taken the House back, and there's 5 seats still up for grabs. I could also see the Republicans holding on to Maine's seat. Susan Collins won there so many times in record-breaking numbers by 66% in the last election, and even though she did kind of did vote, she voted for Brett Kavanaugh, and I think some of her supporters a lot of her Democratic supporters will turn against her for that, but she does have a huge support there just because she's very bipartisan, and there's a lot of Republicans, Independents, and Democrats in Maine, so I think it would just push her slightly over the line still. So now Republicans have 52 seats to Democrats with 44. We're now going to move into the Democratic leans. The state of Michigan, just because Trump won there in 2016, and Gary Peters won there in 2014 by about 9%. I could see this at just under 5% for Gary Peters in 2020. The state of New Hampshire, Jeannie Sasheen, I could see her winning there probably 3%, 2%. Trump lost by 0.4%. She won by 3%, so I could see her holding her margin from 2014. The Democrats' first flip of the day, the state of Colorado. The reason for this is Cory Gardner won this about 3 or 4% in 2014. Democrats won here in 2016 by around 4%. And in 2018, Democrats won there in a likely margin, so I could see this shifting more and more to the Democratic Party going into their column. So now, coming down to the state of Arizona, this is very, very close, so I could really see this going either way. The reason for this is, if it was a midterm election, Martha McSally would most likely lose again, but Krista Sinema was the best candidate for the Democrats to run there as well. The other thing was Trump will also be campaigning there in 2016 and in 2020, not 2016, and get his base out, and a lot of his voters will come out for Martha McSally. But she did lose, and that'll be a mark on her that shows that she did not win, and if she runs again, that won't be too good. So I can really see this going either way, but I'm going to just give it to the Democrats just because of her losing in 2018, and just it'll be so slightly in the decimal less than 1%. So thank you for watching. Go subscribe and like the video, and click the notification bell